Hello, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's going to be game number 3. It's going underway very, very shortly. This is, of course, the ESL One Battlefield 4. We're in the fall season, and we're into the depths of Group C now, Lauren. We're going into a matchup which has already happened this evening. We've already seen MhSV go up against the French team Infamous.
Yep.
And they're going to be going at it once again. It's worth mentioning, of course, it was 2-0 sweep in the first time these teams met this group. We're looking to see if Infamous can clear their name. But otherwise, I haven't actually told you who we are, but it is there beneath me. And it's worth saying that we're going into, I think it's going to be Locker first, then we're going into Dawn, then possibly Paracel if we do need a third deciding map. Lauren, what are your thoughts going into this matchup for a second time this evening?
Well, it's the first time to my eyes.
Oh,
so,
and yeah, of course, for us.
I haven't seen Infamous yet. That's the one thing I want to check out, see how they're playing. We'll be going straight into this one. So for me, I'm not too sure. On paper, I'd say Infamous have the better lineup. But obviously, I haven't been there this season to check it out. So I don't know too much about these guys. I'm hoping they're on point. We'll have to wait and see what they can bring to the table, though. I think overall, MhSV just have to kind of get over that last matchup and do the job now. They've been going through the uppers, and they should try and carry on that way. Infamous could be the underdog, hard to predict sometimes. You could easily overlook them, as they did get 2-0 sweep, but I think we're almost ready to go. Yes, indeed.
We'll jump straight on in to the game, have a look at the tabletop, see if we can see where they're going to be heading. As we can see, a heavy group. Not usually going to see MhSV sending 3 players. Actually make it just 2 as Gino does just hold off. It's going to be a 2v2 on this C flag. That's going to be our starting matchup. And we can see as they charge forwards, first man does fall. It's going to be the ace 23 of Benny landing into the chest of Tayu. Now Nevak's dropped into a tough situation. He falls as well, and Infamous remain supreme on that C site. See if MhSV can do anything in the meantime. Right now, they're just going to be holding steady on this middle area, trying to keep that under control. And as the dust begins to settle, so do the defensive players of Infamous.
Yeah, indeed. Just to point out, if you are just tuning in, Infamous will be on the US side. The Russian side will be, as you can guess it, MhSV. And as you're seeing, it's that 2-1 at the moment in their favor, but C is being contested and has been won out in the end by MhSV. So back to the drawing board we go, but Benny in a great position over by this A flag. He should be able to pick this one up, but fluffs the shot, and that could be a disaster now, as he may have just given the game back over into the hands of MhSV, but backup has arrived in the form of Rella. We're going to call him Rella. That'll do. But still, 1 flag in the hands of Infamous, 2 in the hands of MhSV. But how long will that last?
It's a question I think it's only going to be answered by time. I'm looking towards this 3-man push from Infamous. 3 of them headed off by Kremer, charging towards this C flag in that upper left corner. And actually look like that Nevax is in a fantastic position. You can see him. He's got a great look down on towards this offensive, but it's going to go down. I was kind of blown away by how little he connected bullets there. That should have been much bigger for him. Instead, Tony picking up a double onto MhSV, and we're going to see Infamous taking over now that C flag. B site is, of course, still under control from MhSV, but that's going to give them the spawns closer to the A site. Perhaps that's going to be their next target.
Yeah, it certainly could be. There's 2 players there, Benny and Zuzu now joining in. But the player I want to point out, it's going to be Tony for me, one of these star players. He used to be a big heavy hitter back in the day, and I want to see if he can do that once again. Surprising that they lost 2-0 to MhSV, but regardless, let's see what we have now. At the moment, still 5 on the server for both, but the push on A being pretty much dealt with quite clinically by Infamous, being able to maintain that quite nicely, sticking on 130 tickets to the mere 114 for MhSV. Tony, though, 1v2 possibly outside now. He's got sufficient cover from the back, but here comes the challenge, and surely Tony goes down, but will there be any answer for Kremer? Going to be peering up. Nice little shot towards Gino, goes to the double, doesn't have the bullets to do so, can't switch, and C should be now in the hands of MhSV with some support. The only one who could challenge would be Zuzu.
Yeah, the only one that can challenge is going to be, well, not going to be Zuzu. He's kind of stand a bit too far back and sitting to defend it. Looking pretty rough riding for this player defending on this A flag. 3 bodies from MhSV already on it. They're just going to be capping this one away with very little opposition. I think Gino going to be darting in and out of this corridor, trying to keep it under control. You can see in the meantime, of course, the players starting to head from Infamous towards this C flag. There is a man to defend it, though. It is Holiday. He's done a good job so far. See if he can keep on as he does. He's backed up Tayu's there as well, but of course the trip cap for MhSV is ticking away. The tickets are going to be bleeding away, hemorrhaging from the Infamous side, and obviously they're going to have to go into damage control. Their damage control looks to lead them towards that B flag, and see Benny's the man on the scene, and they don't need to send anyone else. Right now, this is where Infamous need to be clever with their resources. Instead, looking to get taken down actually in the middle area. I thought they were going to do something more with that. Instead, they're going to have to try and pull it up and start heading towards the A flag.
We've got to be careful here. That's the thing. Two players playing towards the east side of C could make a B push very possible. A nice work from Zuzu. They're opening up towards the site. That is A now under control. They have to convert this, though, to something they can maintain. Because MhSV have already started to push forward. Banshing there making his way forward, as is Gino. And the fire does come through, but no real connections apart from Kremer does manage to take down Banshing, so they're extending here, which is good. Gino is going to be a problem later on if he doesn't get picked up soon, because look at that, Kremer goes down to his hand, and that means the threat is still on. Pushing players out of position and pulling them towards making these challenges can be a problem, but MhSV still struggling to convert this into another flag pickup. They're yet to really find a way in, but A now finally being pressured from the Russian side, even as Holiday using that Magnum perfectly and claiming the site in the end. But there's the response. Infamous cutting their losses and heading out towards C.
Flag is going to be going over. Infamous splitting themselves up quite nicely. It's kind of very similar to Fnatic, I think you'll agree. That You're right.
Ladies and gents, I've been having a chat with myself, haven't I?
Oh, no. Well, I am back, ladies and gentlemen, and where my voice has been is a different question. And let's have a little look what's going on here. Oh, dearie me. Right, so let's see what Mr. Navax is doing. He's going to be sitting on that C flag. Sitting pretty happy, actually. Doesn't need to do too much with this one. As the only person to question him would, of course, be a horrible name to pronounce.
Rella.
You'd be calling him Rella?
Yep.
That's Rella, yeah. Relaygovjugov is actually doing absolutely nothing at the moment. The bodies are falling from MhSV. They're starting to stack up, make it 3 or 4 bodies all falling around that A site, and now that's going to be going over to Tony and the gang. It sounds like kind of like an indie band. But you can see they're looking to keep control of this site. Still continuing to keep hold of this, and now the picks and the players are coming in thick and fast for MhSV. Holiday Ho looking to push in now. To pick up a frag. He's not going to do it just yet, though, as the nades do not bring anything for his team. Instead, the AB hold remains for Infamous. And now, what they have to do is stop throwing themselves into the trap that Infamous are lining up. They're just charging and throwing their numbers and tickets at this A site. Instead, perhaps they need to go back, maybe go to the drawing board and think, okay, well, how can we get to B? B is what our kind of the most realistic site for us at the moment.
Certainly is, but Zuzu's having none of that. Finding already Holiday and now expecting the follow-up from Banshing, but doesn't predict the shot count from that CZ. Such a potent weapon close range. And it's great hearing from you again, Alex. I missed you. So
yeah.
We are seeing Gino heading out towards C. He does pick up one on the way. That is Tony down. And he knows there's generally a couple players here trying to defend it. It is generally Kremer and Tony focusing out towards C, if not locking down A. But right now it's down to a 1v1 in this A house. And Zuzu loses out, does not get the exchange. And that will be MhSV picking up the trip cap. Nicely turned around in the end of it, starting from the bottom and turning it on its head, picking up the trip cap, and forcing Infamous to really build back themselves now.
A, C, and B now. It's not the best for the Infamous side. Obviously, they do have that little bit of a cushion, 20 or so tickets from the early game. Going to be trying to keep that as high as possible, as of course the A and C hold is actually looking to stick around if they can defend. It's all on Nevex's shoulders, and they're going to get pushed in and pushed in hard at the moment on this A side. They need to keep this infirmary flying their flag. They're doing a pretty good job of it at the moment as the bodies start falling all over the floor, and instead of just lying back and being happy with this defense, they know that they're going to get some pushes on towards C and instead get flexible and push on towards that B side. Very nice play from MhSV. I question whether they needed to send 4 players though.
That's the point. They may have put commitment towards that B flag, and now it's allowed the Infamous side to get a bit of a foot in the doorway, but that's Kremer coming in. Can he turn this one? Can he keep hold of this? Can he turn this side around? Because at the moment, MhSV still have 2 players in here, TU being one of them. That's a big presence to be had, and he goes down after picking up 1, as does Nevex, and that should be A changing hands. That is a big turn of events now. If they can maintain this, that's a good 2-to-1 hold. It looks like C might be a bit too vulnerable and that'll be picked up by the MhSV side. But in the back there is still Crema, and he is still trying to find these shots. So he does get one, not going to get the second, and B will maintain MhSV's as well. So MhSV overall not coming out too badly here.
It hasn't actually been too rough for them, actually. They've managed to kind of level it out. It's been a bit of a problem for them in the early game. However, they're managing to balance the scales and tip them perhaps in their favor. Too early to tell at the moment, but they do have that BC hold. But looking at Benny, I think unless, of course, Gino pulls something magical, it's going to be changing to an infamous advantage. B flag is one of those ones that will so easily change hands unless you have a real strong defensive presence on it. At the moment, though, they have rotated quite nicely. MhSV starting to set their sights on A, and they're just changing it once again in this very different MhSV play. You know how I was saying I can't quite get it down, they're quite, solid in their defense? Suddenly they're doing something completely different. MhSV cannot be predicted, at least but on my end.
Yeah, playing a bit of a unique game here, being very fluid to actually adapting, which is good for them. They need to be, because those tickets are damn close. Infamous are getting a little low, though, down to 19, but a good 2-1 will change that. But look at this turnaround. 3 kills in a row for MhSV, opening up the doorway towards that B flag, and they might be able to do something here. Banshee comes dropping in, picks up Benny on the fly, and can't find the follow-up. Yes, he can. That is nice work from Banshee. Rella goes down, and that is a nice pick up there on the B flag, maintaining on A. And they might even be able to get into position to challenge these players crossing over from Infamous. Zuzu with the cross, but look at that. Straight away, Nevax is in there, and that's A reinforced, and that could be the win in this one move.
Yeah, one move could be all it took. MhSV do have the lead already, and, of course, the benefit of A and B. And we'll see, of course, everything lying on Infamous's shoulders now. They just need to bring that number as low as they possibly can. Great pick from Zuzu as he's going to advance towards this site. Not for much longer, though. He does go down to the ace 23 of Mr. Nevax. And looking at the scoreboard, you can see his kills are pretty level, 7 kills in it, but that does not reflect in the tickets as just the better defensive and defensive maneuvers from MhSV give them a 26 ticket lead going into the second half of map number 1.
Yeah, 26 is not a great deal. It can be turned. We saw that, just a loss of control overall for Infamous at the later stages. They were keeping certainly on par, if not ahead, for quite some time, but then they did let it slip, as we saw. And as we noticed, the tickets did come back quite swiftly. So, 26 is not huge. That can be turned around. That is a good 2-1 for an extended time, which can be done by both of these teams. Good performance from Benny there. Everyone pretty much pulling their weight within this game, but I think MhSV just a little bit tighter on the play overall. Yeah,
you're right. And I think, obviously, they did win the same game, the same matchup earlier. But I don't know if that's playing too well on their minds. They know they've done it before. They've just had a pretty rough game against Fnatic. I think perhaps this is an MhSV looking a bit shaky. They did get 26 ticket advantage, but I felt like they could have done more. Their pushes and their plays were spot on, but they weren't lasting as long as I normally would expect, and it looked a little bit messy from my end. Yeah,
it didn't look like the team that could challenge Fnatic. That's the way to put it in my mind.
That's a great way, yeah.
They didn't play badly. They still walked away with an advantage, but it's not the advantage I'd expect from a team who was able to do that. Yeah, exactly. So we'll have to wait and see if that maybe becomes a point in the second half here, as I think the teams are just going to be going straight into this one, which is always good. But yeah, it's a very close game. I still think Infamous have more to give. They've got such a talented lineup there. Seeing Tony and Crema, Zuzu, Benny, like really good players. Rella as well, also top class. Not quite be able to convert into the kind of meat of it all and getting the tickets off the back of it. Quite surprising. However, MhSV, nothing to take away from them. I just feel, Infamous have been around a long time here. They've been getting great results back in the day. I think we all know Benny for some time, Zuzu and Crema especially as well. And it's weird not seeing them leading the game for once. Normally, they would be the ones to get all the way until they met the Fnatics or the Epsilons. Yeah. They're not the team that would be going through the lower route.
No, but I mean, neither are MhSV. They're a team that a lot of people question their legitimacy. There are a lot of people that were like, these guys are either really, really good or they're just not quite legitimate. And at the moment, though, they've proven themselves. They're going to look to prove themselves in the offline. They're fighting so hard to get to the offline stage just to kind of clear their name and be a recognized team. And this is the first hurdle for them. They've started well, got that 26 tickets under their belt. But let's jump straight into game, guys, and see what they can do to advance from this. Obviously, looking at the overview, you can see already the C flag going over, courtesy of Nevax, and the B site quite well defended as well. So great start from MhSV. It's one of those ones which can take a while for the opposing side to kind of settle in. But Lauren, why don't you take us away with what's going down?
And as you said, good start there from the US side, which is MhSV now. little bit of a challenge from Infamous, but it's just mostly Kremer being around by B, and he's looking for the kills. He's not really finding them, but Tony might be able to pick up the slack. He gets one, but can he get a second? Yes, he can. That's the double for him, coming and taking them down and possibly getting the foot in the door towards that B flag. So something to keep your eyes on to see if that actually works out for them. MhSV still have the ticket lead. But yeah, 26 can be made up very quickly, but if they don't get a 2-1 soon, Infamous, those tickets are going to start spiraling. Yeah,
and that's exactly what MhSV want to make happen. They want to make kind of put the boot on the other foot and make Infamous start getting a bit shaky, perhaps not performing as well as they wanted to. And right now, that's not so much the case. I think Infamous just trying to stabilize. ANC still flying the US flag for MhSV. And I mean, ANC, it's a hold that's kind of ideal. It's obviously not the pushing them out in the cold strategy, which we saw implemented earlier, but I mean, it's working for them now because they have the control in the corridors. It's Tony is the man I'm most concerned with. You can see him on your screens now. Does actually go down to the AEK of Mr. Gino, and now, of course, there's lots of Misters in this team. It's just come to my attention. We have a Mr. Gino and a Mr. Nevax. Obviously, they're gentlemen of the MhSV side. Yeah, all Mr. Men. But either way, they're gentlemen. And look at this. This is MhSV keeping a hold of ANC. You know how I said this is what MhSV are aggressive, then hold? This is what I was talking about. This is what I was expecting in the first half. And for some reason, they're changing it again. They just change everything on their heads. I love this team, but I just hate that I can't, you know, analyze their play because it's just so different every single time. Yeah, and even with that, though, they did lose out on A there. But they might be able to make it back on one of these sites, but still, it is a very scrappy game so far. There is very little tactics in regards to this. It is very much just a smash and grab between these two. And that could just be the nerves coming into place. This is their last chance to qualify through towards those offline finals. You may argue there is the other cup possible, the Go 4 Cup, if they've accumulated enough points throughout, which we'll explain a little later. But still, currently, triple cap coming in for MhSV. A nice play from TU, expecting the backspawn, but will they expect Tony through the mid? I think he made a little bit of noise there, but he does pick up Banshee, so at least removing a little bit of the threat en route and B being swarmed over. But still, two players able to challenge for MhSV, and at the moment, still that 2-1 can be starting really tearing away the points and the tickets from Infamous, who just haven't seemed to find their footing so far. They've very rarely held down a flag for an extended time. And I think they've just been kind of pressured around the map by the likes of MhSV. That's the problem here. Infamous need to get a little bit of downtime. They need, you know, less chaos, and they need to find that little bit of a settling point. However, with the tickets starting to get a little low, it might not be the best time to be looking for that little bit of quiet and hopefully find a little bit more pace to themselves, because 81 tickets to 129 include a 26 ticket deficit in that for Infamous. That's not a great picture to be painting, and they're still struggling over this A flag. This, I believe, would almost be the first 2-1 they'd actually maintain if they got it, but it's certainly no easy feat here. And your thoughts so far in this push? Right now, all I can really keep looking at, is the Infamous defensive play on A. They're committing 3 players every time. You can see here Mr. Gino is starting to push it, and he's having no problems. 3 players. Infamous are committed over, you know, a majority of their team to defending this one site, and all it's going to mean is that B site goes over to MhSV. You can see banishing the man behind the cap, and in the meantime, all they've had to do was just send one, I think it was 2 players, and an entire team, 4 players of this Infamous side, all going down, or at least committing nothing. But watching the B and C side fall away from them once again. Fantastic work from MhSV, but I think it's more of a slip-up from Infamous. I tend to agree. A little bit of an overcommitment of resources. And the tickets are starting to get a little low here. 68 on the board. That's not a great deal. And if the Russian side, which is Infamous, drop below that 20, map 1 in the hands of MhSV, and it's getting worryingly towards, worryingly towards the second map, which is not what they want. They might want to warm up a little bit here. Infamous, you've got to drag it out. But let's see what they're doing right now. Let's break down what their plan is. They are currently holding on towards A. They have C, but they're not holding outside of the site. They're not having players in the corridors. They're not putting people aggressively by the doors. It's allowing a couple of players to push in line. Banshee gets one, gets the double. That is the worry and the threat of not putting players outside of the sites. You can get swarmed, and especially with a team like MhSV who love that close range play. That's just a mistake again from Infamous. Yeah, and they're making quite a lot of them. I think it's starting to stack up against them, and that's represented by the tickets. 56 to 104. It's just falling away from beneath them. And of course, 26 from the first half just rub salt into the wound. And Infamous, they're looking like very much a wounded animal right now. It's going to be a big knock to their confidence. But right now, it's more of a case of just not being able to hold on to any sites.
Yeah, and right now we'll have to see what they can do in regards to this. A and B in finally Infamous's hands. This is their turn to lead, but it took them 5 minutes and 43 seconds. That's a little too long for my taste. And now Infamous have to pull something very impressive out. They're doing well, but they have to be extraordinarily solid, whether it be just to warm up now more than anything. And C being questioned as well. Is this an overreach? They're going to allow TU to slip through the back. This could be the error. This could be them over once again committing resources. Here he comes, gets the first. They're allowed to retake the side. One man on it. That's going to be Tony. He gets picked up as well. And TU's read on the play was absolutely perfect. Leaves A open, opens up C, and that's the 2-1 once again in MhSV's hands. Yeah. They're just playing smart. They don't need to play this incredibly, progressive game. They're just reading the errors that Infamous are giving them.
Yeah, it's just a kind of comedy of errors for Infamous. Everything they do seems to either fall back in their face or last for about 5-10 seconds, and then MhSV have an answer. So every time, I think that's the second squad wipe we've seen in about a 10-second period, Infamous are just losing out in every instance of this game. Name it, they've lost on it. Right now, MhSV are controlling this game, they're setting the pace, and all Infamous can do is take what's given to them. And right now, very little is being given to them. Obviously, they do have control of this B flag, but for how long, especially when they're putting so many numbers, 4 players, you are reading that correctly, 4 players towards that A flag. That's going to be nothing but an easy B frag for Gino.
Well, let's see what we've got going on here. As you said, the 1v1 coming down on towards B should be Gino's, but he's kind of fluffed it a little bit there. Down to the pistol, gets the tag,
oh dear,
not the frag, and the rest of the boys will have to clear up the mess. So errors being made, but 26 tickets to 29. Infamous going to have to play the near-on flawless game here if they do want to turn this around. 80 tickets against them. Zuzu goes in, goes down, but C will be picked up, but the reinforcements are going to cost them the tickets, and that is it. Infamous just dropping below that threshold. First map goes over towards MhSV.
Yeah, and fantastically performed from MhSV in that second half. I was, in the first half I was getting a bit edgy. I was thinking this is perhaps not the MhSV we know and love, and they've just brought it straight back. Yep. It took them maybe a half to get over the loss against Fnatic, and they're straight back into the driving seat of the game. Really nice to see them performing in that one. And overall, I think there's little to be said for Infamous other than they're not playing as they should. I think they were just, we said it in the game, there's just so many mistakes. I'm not going to highlight them all. I'm sure you guys would be bored to death. But overall, Infamous, they were not playing how they probably were set out to. There was a lot of unnecessary and unforced errors.
Well, I don't know if it's a lack of leadership or, there's that voicing game that generally you always listen to. There's that one guy that will lead the team, and you saw what TU did. There's a prime example. He split through the team. He literally got right round behind them on that C flag, and he just tore them apart. And it's more, that's just a mistake of where to put your resources and where the weak points are in your strategy or your push. And it's strange for me to see Infamous not reading that. They were a team that used to do that to others. Exactly, that was their little kind of niche that they always used to exploit, but to see them kind of falling to that, it's not a good sign. And this was a strong map for MhSV before. So if Infamous are going to do it, they're going to have to play out a bit of an A game, but, I'm a little worried.
Yeah, it's of course it's Dawnbreaker. It's a map which we saw MhSV beat Fnatic on. Yeah. Just to put it into perspective for you guys, MhSV have beaten Infamous earlier today. They've beaten Fnatic on this map, and now they're playing the same map against a team they've already beaten. The maths just doesn't add up for Infamous at the moment. I think statistically it doesn't favor them. We all love a surprise, but right now it's looking pretty good for the German side of MhSV.
Certainly does, and I know it sounds a little strange, but it'd be good to have a new team kind of coming towards those offline sort of environments.
Yeah, 100%.
It would be something very new to my eyes. I don't think we've seen any of their players actually turning up before. I'm trying to think back if any of them did actually play in any of the other games. I don't think so. Whereas Infamous, obviously, we've had, I think Tony's been here before, Benny. I'm not sure if any of the others have. Rella, possibly. Obviously, a lot of switches came in between those seasons prior to now. But for me, it'd be nice to have a new team here, showing that there is a lot of fresh blood out there in the Battlefield 4 scene competitively. Bringing a little bit of new style to it, a little bit of a new kind of tone.
A style I can't dissect.
Yeah, something that just baffles Alex.
That baffles me completely. But yeah, that would be nice. It'd be great to see them at the offlines. Yeah. I think we're just going to be waiting for Infamous to get ready to go. Or maybe they just need a bit of a time. I think MhSV needed time before. Maybe now the Infamous side are actually the team that need that little bit of a break before going into the next game. It can just kind of start stacking up, and before you know it, you've lost 50 tickets before you've kind of got comfortable and it starts running away from you. So I think it's always wise to take that little bit longer before jumping into game. But overall, I think we've highlighted it enough that, right, this is looking pretty shaky for the Infamous side. MhSV, everything stacks up in their favor. It's Dawnbreaker. It's against Infamous. They've already won one map. It's all good right now for MhSV. And I think it's worth saying, guys, while we do have a bit of downtime waiting for this minute, Lauren, why don't you tell them this time? Where can they come on the 22nd and 23rd of November for free to come and see us?
I don't want to do it to them. You can see it down there. I don't want to force it on you guys again. You know, I just... No, but do indeed check out their website. Do make sure you have a little look at the tickets. Have a little look through the other finals as well. There's some VODs up on that site. If you like the look of it, if you like the look of the free drinks, the free food, and the free meeting us too, check it out. Do come down. It'd be awesome to see you guys. We love getting you guys down here. If you do live in Germany, if you especially live in Cologne, you have no excuses. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Come see us.
If you live in Cologne and you don't turn up, I will be sad as hell.
Should be a sad panda.
I will fight you. So we'll have to wait and see how this one goes, because we could be having a bit of an outsider joining us here, quite possibly on those dates that you listed, and hopefully you guys as well, if MhSV make it this far. But anyway, possibly the final map for them, and the final map for Infamous. We'll be finding out who'll be joining Fnatic in those offline finals from Group C.
Yep, it's very exciting stuff, guys. Let's jump straight into game. We've got a 10-second countdown, and we can maybe have a little look at what on earth we're going to see from Infamous. This is going to be such a struggle from them from the get-go. There's very little breathing room for them. They cannot make a mistake, and we know how many mistakes they were making just one map ago. So, having a look at that overview, you can see where they're heading. There's a big, big Infamous presence. They're going to challenge for B site. Not something you see so often. Zuzu's already halfway through the cap, looking to get the pick. Does so. This is a great start for Infamous. There's going to be bloodshed, but they're looking to come out on top. Right now, Rella, oh, that name is going to annoy me, does just have to back off from that one, as Banshing is going to start pushing in as well, and they've managed to cap it, but straight away backing off. Debatable strategy there.
Well, let's see if it pays off them. As you said, they do have slight control, but not full, I'd argue. As Zuzu was still present, but he gets picked up on the side. Kremer, however, reading the situation correctly, understanding where the players were, and maybe looking for a cheeky cap towards C. It's certainly vulnerable. There's one man here. It is Holiday. Maybe not the one player I'd want to come up against, but dealt with swiftly. So that is the site opened up and looking pretty, well, vulnerable. Kremer's there. Little challenge. Nevax needs to fall back towards B because that's being captured. And in the meantime, look at this turnaround. Infamous possibly getting a trip cap if they get B fast enough. Even for a second, they did have it. A will be picked up. But now two players stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
It certainly is not looking too good at the moment for the B side. It's completely empty. No players from either side is currently on the B side. Obviously, that does favor Infamous at the moment. They are in control of B. But for how long? 3 players from MhSV now charging through the middle. We'll see what they can deal with. Zuzu is actually opting for a push through to the A side. 4 players, in fact, from Infamous charging for, and it looks like that overcommitment from Infamous yet again, Lauren. They seem to be making a habit of this. They're throwing their entire team towards one site, and of course, leaving Benny in the cold on the C side. We'll see how this works out for them, though. It's actually returning in force. MhSV have stacked up as well. They've kind of twigged it. They know what's coming towards the safe site. And right now, it looks pretty back and forth. Ty with a double. ACW in hand is all he needs to take down the Infamous side. And they're looking pretty shaky. Now, all of them have been wiped out, in fact, as the last frag does come in. As Taiyu gets another. The man is unstoppable at the moment. And now, with the B site in hand as well, under control, Banshing is just going to sit there quite comfortably, waiting for the push from Benny.
Yeah, I saw the initial plan to it from Infamous, the 4-1 split. One guy just holding down C, allowing for the respawn in the back there for Infamous and denying the random one for MhSV, but they obviously were depending on picking up the A flag as well to complement it. However, that not happening kind of leaves them with just Benny chilling out at C on his own. So not exactly what they wanted. And they're even going to lose out that as soon as Benner walks away. He's kind of having to fall back here, get out maybe a nade if he's got one and try and get it going, because this is a worrying situation. Infamous have been trailing the whole way, and it's reflected in tickets here, 134 to 104. It's not looking good so far, but what is the current situation? MhSV looking for that retake from the street side, picking up the first. There is Tiu, who's having a great game to this point, but oh, the respawn's come in, but nice little bit of a nade comes out. He's going to flare them down. He does walk in, and that's Tiu again with the kill. This guy's on a mission, and so far he's winning out 8-3.
It's a fantastic scoreline so early on, alongside actually Holiday, who's got 6 for 3, not that far behind. So picking up the frags for their team. And there's no one really standing out for me for the Infamous side. The highest frags on that team is Kremer with 6. Just picked up the 6th there against Banshing before going down. Obviously, the A and B are still under control from Infamous. But there is a bit of a cushion, 20 tickets or so already for the MhSV side. They need to kind of make a move pretty quickly, though. They can't afford to let Infamous get close or closer towards leveling out these tickets. Actually, they're going to successfully do it. Great picks across the street from the MhSV side. And in fact, the Infamous side, respectively. Right now, Benny's on a push as well. He's going to be picking up the assist. Doesn't need to show too much of himself. He's just going to catch a spot for Zuzu to do the rest of the wet work. Not going to happen, actually. He goes down. Gino is on a rampage with the AEK. And that B flag is still flying for Infamous. Unbelievable.
Impressive stuff, but MhSV do have A, so they should be able to walk down the street eventually and get back in towards it too. The man I can't help but watch in this moment, moving forward, looking for the kill off the side tree. He does get the tag, and he gets the exchange, not the clean kill. That's where we would have wanted to help capture that flag over and then be able to maintain. But look at this stack. This is worrying. Look at this player jumping down behind them. Who is that? It's Gino, who gets one, gets two, but gets taken down in the end by Rella. So nice work there, but long push round the back from Zuzu. Tickets still just in the hands of MhSV. Flags just in their hands as well, but can Zuzu turn this? Walking in towards A. 3 players still there. Down a little bit of fire. Not much connection, sadly, and eventually they do work their way in, but it took some time.
Yeah, you can see that on your screens. Tayo charging now. He's been picking up so many frags, but he can't do it all. He's not a one-man army. He needs his team behind him, and right now, as he approaches this B side, approaches this A side, I thought he was going to keep hold of B, just play the defensive role. Instead, he's going macho. He's going aggressive. He's going to commence the charge again, and his presence alone is going to maintain the Infamous presence at A. They're forced to go way back, forced to sit there, and we'll see if they can keep hold of this C flag.
Yeah, B and C being locked down. 2 men pushing a little further forward, though. Tony is one of them. A little bit of a peek across, not too much. Not too much to be done so far. 90-71. Infamous struggling to find anything else. They should be focusing on B, not C. And at the moment, they're kind of being held where they are. Gino there. Nevax as well in the background. A little bit of a slower game coming out from MhSV now. They've been thrown off C, and they might just have to start looking back towards A now.
I think you're right. I think that's not really where they want to be turning their attention to. They just have to leave C, let it be, and you can actually see they're doing exactly that, charging towards the A site, straight into the talons of Zuzu. It does actually sound like kind of like a bird, doesn't it? Zuzu, Zazu. Right now, Holiday is the only man who really with potential to challenge him. Zuzu, the defensive player, going to be roaming around, playing the defensive game, and on the here come MhSV. They're looking to kind of get this flag as quickly as possible. They do not want to wait around. They do not want these tickets to get level, but look how close they are. 72-65, looking to set that precedent for the first half. It could possibly be a close one, but obviously MhSV, they've done it in the past up against Fnatic, but when they were left with about 30 or so tickets, they have no problem bringing those late game advantages just for that kind of element of surprise, but also kind of putting Infamous off kilter.
Yeah, and this could be a near-on squad wipe here. Holiday does manage to get Gino back up and Nevax, but they don't need to be taken down once again, and this is a worrying sight here for the boys in blue, which is MhSV. They do have the backspawn finally coming in for Banshing, trying to remove some of the cover from the opposition, taking them down, but C being what they're walking away with, not the ideal side, but still having 2 players challenging for A, it's splitting the side of Infamous into a 3-2 position. Nevax does go down to Tony, and that will be the back away coming out from TU to maybe focus on retaking that B site rather than challenging A.
Yeah, wise move as well. Doesn't need to do too much here. He does actually fall quite quickly to the defensive play from Infamous. I think it's Benny in that distant position, which can be so tough. Right now, there's a duel going on stairs. You can see who's going to come out victorious. It's going to be Rella, as well as Banshing charging forward yet again. There's a lot of bodies falling from MhSV. 3 going down, and Zuzu, the man behind the defense. That's all he needed to do, was spawning in on his teammate. And the AB hold does prevail. Yet again, the Chinese side of Infamous are actually starting to run away with these holds. We'll see for how long, as 4, make it 5 players from MhSV are all sitting pretty on this C flag. They need to make a move because, of course, that AB hold is going to start the bleed. The ticket's going to start falling away from the MhSV side. And if Infamous get any sort of lead going into half number 2, it's going to be a very strange statement considering MhSV's performance prior to this.
Certainly will be. Holiday has snuck through towards B, but he is in between pretty much a rock and a hard place. Infamous have pushed forward towards C. He's got players behind him to his left, right, and center. He is dodging bullets like a champ, but for only so long. He does eventually go down, but he did get the 2-1 for a second, maybe stopping that bleed for a small moment, but not for long as Benny likes that to continue. The backspawn finally comes in for MhSV, but And they're going to be challenged immediately. Banshee laying down the fire. Gino capping out the flag. Steve still being held. One man in their way. It's going to be Tony. If they push down to retake B, he'll be waiting for them. And C being taken, they're going to have to make this move pretty damn soon. Gino checking corners. He knows there might be a player waiting and watching, and that's it. Gino spots him out. And, well, the law comes round. The law does not land. And finally, Banshee picks up the kill towards Tony, but that CZ had to be put into position and utilized perfectly. But now Kremmer looking to challenge on the flag. B is going to be a big damn bloodbath.
Yeah, and it's such an important bloodbath. 22 to 45, of course. MhSV need to level this out now. They do not want to see that third map. They do not want to see a huge advantage in the hands of Infamous. And right now, if Infamous play the game that they currently are, it has the potential for that to happen. And that's not an MhSV's plans. Right now, they do have the B flag. Let's see how long they can keep hold of it. Holiday keeping it defensive very nicely on that B flag. Pushing on, of course, is Gino on C. You can see they're leveling out for a trip cap, but that could be dangerous. That's going to force the random respawns. You can see there's very few defensive players on A. Actually, they're starting to bolster their numbers. You're on with Nevax, 2v2. Charging in is a Kremmer. Kremmer's going to be ready and waiting. Tayu trying to defend as well on the outer side. But Infamous are already capping it. They managed to do it completely, and Tayu is none the wiser, finally going to kind of wake up and realize what he's got to do. But the A site has gone over it, stopped the trip cap. Perhaps it was a gift from MhSV. They said, yes, you can have it. We're happy with the BC hold. And instead, they're just hoping the time's going to tick away, as are those tickets. They've managed to level it out, Lauren. It's looking pretty good, actually, for MhSV after it's about 20 or so tickets.
Oh, it's going to be close. I don't know about good. The exchange on C comes down to this 1v1, which no one's going to win out on just yet. A still being fought over, 2v2 down to the 1v1. Holiday comes around the side, gets the tag, not the frag, down to the back. Oh, he pulls it off. Ryla goes down. And that could be the trip cap to end this one out. 17 to 7 at the moment, but those tickets will be falling fast. And so far, you can thank that game to two players pretty much. Rella and TU for keeping it damn close. 17 on the half, though. MhSV with not much of an advantage here.
Not much at all. 17 tickets. Not much at all. 17 tickets. I can't hear myself. 1 second. There we go. I can hear myself. Sorry.
He's not very good with audio, is he? You know what I mean? So we've got some sliders here. You can even see him. He just keeps pressing buttons. I'm
like a DJ. Just kind of mixing.
I'm like a DJ, just really bad.
Just mixing my levels and all that jazz. There's audio nerds out there going, what's he saying? This isn't right. No, I apologize. No, but you're right. There was such a small lead. Very, very minor for MhSV. Considering it, hang on, I can tell you right now. On Dawnbreaker, 35 tickets on the half against Fnatic. So I know you would, and I know myself, and a lot of you guys at home would put, Fnatic in a whole different bracket to Infamous. And seeing MhSV get a less at the half, that raises some questions to me. I don't know whether I don't think that was Infamous particularly playing better than Fnatic. I think it was more MhSV not bringing the same game that they perhaps had on Dawnbreaker. Obviously, a point to be raised is, did MhSV just anti-strat Fnatic?
That's what I would always argue, that you always aim at the top. Fnatic would be at the top. Rather than Infamous. So Infamous could bring out maybe something a little better. But Infamous were just playing well. They didn't play anything special.
Standard, didn't it?
They just played a strong, A-B game. If they lost down A, they'd pick up C, then work their way back up the street. It was nothing completely new. It was just well played. It was just a standard game that they played out there. So if they can do that a little earlier on, they might have this game in the bag. Because I don't know why I feel it, but Infamous I still feel played a little better than MhSV during start. I think MhSV, depending on one man going huge, which was TU, picking up a massive amount, soloing out sites, hitting 22 kills. That is very impressive. But it's not really something you can depend on going to second halves here. So I'm not sure how this one's going to pan out. I think it's dangerous for an MhSV. I think this could go to a third map if they're not careful. And
we know they want to avoid it. Obviously, Paracel Storm will be map number 3. It's been quite popular as a map 3 choice, I think, at the moment. We haven't seen Zavod once so far in this group. But it's worth highlighting that Infamous, if they take it to a third map, they're going to have that confidence behind them. MhSV have played, it's going to be 3 maps in a row, then 2 more. So it's going to be on their 6th game. I know they're going to start lagging. We know we've got a very fresh-faced Infamous off the back of the win as well. So this is really important for MhSV. They need to win this one, and we'll see where they start with their pushes. Let's have a look in the overview. You can see the Infamous side pushing on towards that B side. Capping it early. Benny's going to be pushing up forward as well, though. And so as we start this off, it's all about MhSV retaking that B side.
Yeah, and TU's the man I'm going to have to watch after hitting such a phenomenal kill marker. Much as I say kills don't equate to much in Battlefield in this instant, they kind of do. And look at this play. Zuzu, really nicely done. Going on the long flank around the back of A. That might force Banshing or one other to fall back. But MhSV just not quite having the penetration towards the side that they may be wanting. We'll have to see what they can bring a little further forward. They might have to split some more players, maybe back from the Infamous side towards B, but sorry, towards C even, which is probably Holiday's plan here, because they could get trip capped very early on, because MhSV have just been a little reluctant to make a bit of a push here.
Yeah, they seem pretty cautious, pretty hesitant. Infamous have only dropped 1 ticket so far. That little lead may be corrupting them and maybe giving them a little bit of overconfidence, because everything they're trying right now is not quite working out the map. The star player right now is going to be capping over that B site though. Tayu, the man who Lauren has rightly so highlighted as one of the best players at the moment for the MhSV side, is doing yet again on that B site. Managed to capture over. Meanwhile, Nevax did a great job of keeping 3 players occupied for Infamous, as Tayu is going to pick up yet another frag. It just doesn't end with this man. He's going to get another one as well. He's just picking up the frags. The ACW does thrive in that hip-fire, close quarters scenario as well. Still, though, tickets starting to level out. MhSV closing that gap that was created at the start by Infamous, and it's all in the swing of this B side. Right now, though, we're going to see a rotation. We're going to see Infamous pushing on towards that A side. It cost them 3 players, though, and just 1 from the MhSV side to rotate to C.
Yeah, interesting choice to reinforce Benny on this catwalk side. And actually, maybe the right choice is, it does seem as though Tony did take down the 1 player who did back cap, but he will be picked up. So CMB being maintained for now by MhSV, but Benny spotting out TU there, cautiously looking for the peak. But I don't think it's working out too well. TU still just holding his own, and in the meantime, A is being counter-capped. So Kremer trying to do the hard work here. Benny finally takes down TU, but Holiday finds the reply. So B and C will be safe. A should be eventually won over by Infamous, but they're certainly taking their sweet time about it and just taken enough of the tickets away. That lead that they'd forged at the start has pretty much been wiped off the face of the earth here. And Benny now surrounded by opponents down on that C flag. He's drawn the attention away from MhSV and allowed a weakness on B to be formed, and Infamous to pounce.
Yeah, they're pouncing pretty fast as well. Straight onto that B site. No questions asked. But right now, Banshing going to be falling as well. The entirety of the Infamous side, sorry, the MhSV side, are going to be kind of going into damage control, trying to work out the best route into the site. Nevax has got his eyes on the A flag, and rightfully so. I think that's going to be their best bet here, Lauren. Although they are throwing so many players at B, I'm not sure how long this is going to last. Instead, we are seeing actually the B flag go over. I'm eating my words as it occurs. And yeah, somehow Infamous let that B side slip. I was not expecting that. I thought we were going to see Infamous, you know, they're very stereotypical, throw as many players as we can at a site. But it didn't happen. Infamous were very passive. They didn't choose to fight for that one. Instead, they looked to be sending players more towards A. And instead, that's just going to cause the B-C hold, and the bleeds are going to start ticking away from Infamous.
Certainly is. Banshing in a bit of a tricky situation, does come out finally on top of the nades coming in. He's going to be pressured from the side. Goes back around for the challenge with the CZ. Not going to get it. B is being a little challenged here as we do have Tony moving to position, as is Zuzu. And Zuzu's done the damage. That's what they needed. And this could change things up here. Infamous is spread out throughout the map. They haven't got a singular goal, but that may work. It's harder to counter in that sort of present situation. As Gino now tucked down by B, waiting for the push, or will he retract back towards C? So many options available, but chose the wrong one and got punished. B now being swarmed, C being captured. MhSV will walk away with 1, but it'll be Infamous with 2.
Yep, this B site is such an important one. It's changed hands a good 5 or 6 times already. We're only 4 minutes in, and this B site is one of the only sites that we've seen constant action at. Occasionally we have seen these split kind of rotations between A and C, but right now all of that action is around the site on your screens right now. 82-94, slight advantage for MhSV. Banshing does fall on that B site, but right now you can see...
right now. Right now we are seeing Gino go around towards that C flag. I'm sorry, I lost it. I'm a bad person. You can formally complain about me later, don't you worry. Alrighty, so what are we seeing so far here? 2-1?
That's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing the A and C hold. Not entirely sure what they're going to be dealing with around this A flag. It's going to be pretty tough. 3 players all going to be pushing in. You can see the external players all going in for a big battle around this C flag. Tony, the man behind, with the plan, with the Magnum as well, looking to pick up the frags here as he does start questioning C.
Yeah, certainly a interesting choice to make. 68 to 82. The ticket's still in favor to MhSV at this point and claiming the kills to support that, but can they convert that in towards a site? B is vulnerable. A little harder to take, but they have the players in the right position to do so if they can follow these kills up now. 3v2 on A. They need to play this correctly, but one man already going pretty low. Gino now has to push in from the side. Overwhelm on the side itself. TU does find Rella. And it looks like A has been won out. Can they convert this towards B as well? They'll be switching to the more ideal sites. And Infamous will be kicking themselves.
Certainly not going to be too happy. 73 to 65, it means those tickets are just slipping away. Don't forget that advantage as well. 17 in favor of MhSV, and MhSV want to close it out now. They do not want to go to map number 3. I've highlighted that, and I'll continue to highlight that as we know just how much this means to MhSV. They want to meet Fnatic again. They want to kind of pick up the slack that they dropped in the first time those teams met. And right now, A and B are going to be the teams where we're going to see the teams meet. I think right now, Infamous holding B. MhSV with A, they're going to try and push out towards this middle area. Nevak's the first on the scene, going to be hitting that prone key hard. Doesn't go down just yet, though. He's going to find himself some cover and look to progress towards this site. Teammates are coming towards to back him up as well. Right behind him, of course, you do have Holiday. Holiday does go down. This is the frag from Zuzu. Infamous are playing a pretty strong defensive game on this B site. They're managing to contain it. Tayu on the roam as well. Not going to go down just yet, though. Hits the medikit. As now, those tickets are going to start. Well, sorry, I should say continue. They're not starting. They've been going down for a while, but the AB hold is remaining for Infamous. They've held on to this for a dangerous amount of time for MhSV. They are at a disadvantage. And in fact, their advantage from the first half, all it does is level out the tickets. Pretty much, and we'll have to see if that comes into effect pretty soon as Rella looking to do some damage, and this is the thing that I was worried about. Infamous looking a little bit more solid overall, I felt, than MSHV in the first half, regardless of that small advantage that MhSV walked away with in the end. So, kills coming in. Only 4 tickets left. MhSV are getting very low here, and this could be a real problem going forward if they don't start converting this. And you know they're going to be kicking themselves. So in towards B they go. 28 tickets. This could be one of the final real pushes they can make it. Oh yeah, 100%.
This is pretty much what they've got to do. Kremer picking up the double is going to turn this in favor towards Infamous. I am not sure if this is going to go all the way they want to, as 26 to 58. The tickets looking a little grim from MhSV. And look at that play coming from Red. Just pushing straight in. Knowing they've got tickets to play with in comparison to MhSV, who now will have to just utilize so many of theirs on the respawns, and the just damage being done from Infamous is huge. This is almost over. This is their last chance. Right now, you can see Ching diving onto the site. He needs to land the fry. He does. Two vital picks. Make it 3. MhSV are picking up the frags they need to on this B site. And if they can keep hold of this BC hold, this very well could turn on its head yet again. Don't forget how important this is for MhSV. They want to take this right now. They do not want to play this game any longer than they already have. Clean up on C as well. That was perfect. It's all Tayu. This man is picking up the frags left, right, and center. Banshing's alongside it as well. Infamous can feel it. They can smell that third map, but they can't quite get there just yet. 17 tickets. That's all they've got to take away from MhSV, but MhSV are holding on for dear life. An all-in A play coming out from Infamous. They've said, no, we can't do that. We've got to split our attention. But there's the trip cap coming in. This is a disaster for the Infamous side. Have they let it slip at the final hurdle? As the players are being picked up on A, they're running out of options and they're running out of tickets. And this is it. Benny fighting still. Picks up one, goes down. One man still stands. This is unbelievable. Has MhSV secured this in the last couple of seconds? 17. They're picking up the flag, but I can't believe this, Alex. Is this going to really happen? They've done it. They've done it. They've brought in Benny 17. Infamous are going to be furious. Steam coming out of their ears. MhSV have come back from what should have been a third map. 110%. Infamous just made the biggest mistake of their Battlefield career, having the chance to go to a third map to take it all the way. They threw it away, and MhSV just went, all right, guys, you want to do that? We'll play out of our skins, trip cap you, and then go to the finals. You can see it. Well, you can't see it, chat, but one of the MhSV players, Mr. Gino, has just spammed letters. He's obviously just been punching his keyboard in celebration. Fantastic work from MhSV. We said it time and time again. They do not want to see that map. It's Paracel Storm, a map they haven't played yet. It would be their 6th game in a row. MhSV were just so ready for that to be over, and it was shown in their playstyle. They fought tooth and nail for those last 50 tickets. Woo! You okay? I enjoyed that. Excited, a little excited. I did. That was perfect play. That's a thing that you rarely see when games can turn on its head like that, and MhSV proved their point. They are the better side. They deserve to be qualifying through towards those offline finals. So congratulations to MhSV and Fnatic from Group C qualifying through, and they took a bit of a hard route as well, MhSV. They certainly had to fight a hard way in towards that. So, wow, bit of an interesting performance today. Gotta say it, but oof, I think we're still a little reeling from
deep
this.
breath. Look at that bracket. Look at that bracket. You can see...
Should we take it from the top? Let me take you guys through it, just in case you missed out on it. Fnatic picking up their first game against Alcen. Alcen sadly not having a great route, losing out in their lower game, so instantly out. Infamous lost out in their first, but won in their second in the lower, and then continued through to finally meet MhSV in the lower as well, which, well, we saw going MhSV's way, so they made it through the lower route, whereas Fnatic won it in a 2-game fashion and got through to the final. So congratulations to Fnatic and MhSV. Bit of a strong performance from both. That
gives us the group overview. Now you can have a look at who advanced from every single group we've seen so far. We've seen Epsilon and PKD. No surprises there. PKD, they're another MhSV actually, another German team, another team who actually have been posting some pretty good results. They got third to fourth, sorry, in the offline stages at Gamescom this season, or last season, sorry. And so Epsilon, of course, a recognized name. Over on Group B, Lauren, you see MYM and SK.
Yeah, SK, nice to see them picking up a new name to their team.
GC.
So congratulations to those guys. And Meet Your Makers, a familiar face there for me to see them coming back through, obviously. But a bit of a shame to see Dignitas losing out there, but still, the deserving teams won it. I did have the pleasure of watching that, so certainly a impressive performance from those guys all in all. But I've got to say, I think so far the best teams have got to their position.
Yeah, and it remains true. You know, the top 6 from the standings remain at the top of their groups. So no surprises in terms of standings and statistics, but some surprises along the way, Lauren. We saw a couple of upsets that disconnect from MhSV, which could very well have been the first loss from Fnatic against a team like MhSV. They have, I mean, obviously in their online cups, which Lauren wasn't there for, we saw Fnatic. They were struggling to get through their semi-finals. They were constantly meeting MYM, Epsilon, and those losses were they were cutting them down. I think actually SK were the team who every single time they met Fnatic, they beat them in a 2-0 sweep. Yeah,
that was generally why Fnatic never made it out of the semi-finals in certain cups. It was always them meeting them there, and that was that. You know, Fnatic just couldn't break through. Interesting stuff. But let's bear in mind there is still another team that can join us towards the offline finals. Now, as you mentioned, there's 2 per group so far. There's been 3 groups, so simple math I'm sure you guys can work out. But on Wednesday, we still have 1 more possible option. And to try and explain this very badly is more attempting it.
Let's go.
It's basically the Go 4 qualification group. So teams that aren't already qualified can have an opportunity to qualify through the Go 4s by accumulating enough points to be highest in the rankings to give it a go. So, for example, I believe we're going to be seeing Team Dignitas trying out again, probably Elevate and My Revenge. I'm not too sure. I will try and clarify that. And obviously, it was dependent on this group as to who got through. So, even though Infamous lost out in this, they could still have another chance going into the Go 4 group and then working their way through. But there's a risk to it, because otherwise it would seem like a bit of a second chance for everyone. Why is that a good thing? Well, only 1 team qualifies from it. So there's an extra game or 2. And only 1 team gets through. So it's certainly like the last chance saloon, that is it. And then we have our teams who will be joining us in those offline finals.
It's a great route for those teams that have had these awful attempts, you know, these these couple of games where they're like, oh, that was not us. And so it gives them that last chance to get through, prove themselves, and sit themselves down in the ESL studios. You can as well, guys. Last time, I'm going to plug it, I'm sure, but the ESL-1.com/Battlefield is worth it. I just want an audience. I really want to have a big group of people who all love Battlefield as much as us.
Like,
for me,
support Alex. He needs friends. He doesn't have many.
No,
we might pay you. I might give
just
you small amounts of money.
Yeah, small amounts. You should specify it now, just in case an entire swarm of you show up. But yeah, that'd be great to see you guys there. Last of us from us. I think it's just worth saying if you do want to find out what's going on with us, or find out when the next games are, and perhaps when Lauren clarifies what's going to be going on in terms of the Go 4s, find out which teams are going to be in there.
I thought I did a good job. You know, geez, I thought I tried with the Go 4.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying when we find out exactly who's going to be there.
Okay, so it's my duty now. So guys, I have a new responsibility in life.
Yeah, to tweet out when she knows who's going to go 4s. Obviously, ESL at ESL Battlefield as well, if you want to find out from them. But all in all, I think that brings our evening to a close, Lauren.
Yeah, I think it does.
I think it does. So we've had fun, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We've had a great evening. I'm sure you have as well. But do be sure to catch us next time. I think it's tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. See you guys then.